What if I told you that for 28 years, the most feared monster in China wasn't hiding in the shadows, he was sitting at your dinner table. He walked your streets, raised his children, and lived a life so perfectly ordinary that no one ever suspected the truth. They called him China's Jack the Ripper, a ghost who hunted in broad daylight and vanished without a trace. But how does a man remain invisible for nearly 3 decades while committing the unthinkable? Today, we're peeling back the mask of Gao Chengyong, the man who turned a quiet city into a living nightmare. You won't believe how his perfect life finally came crashing down. For 28 years, a shadow haunted the streets of Baiyin, China. A phantom moving in plain sight, living a life of terrifying normalcy. To his neighbors, he was just a quiet father, a man who blended into the crowd. But behind that mask of domesticity, he was something far more sinister. The man the world would come to know as China's Jack the Ripper. Imagine walking home on a bright, sunny afternoon. You feel safe, surrounded by the hustle and bustle of daily life. Now, imagine that safety shattering in an instant. For the women of Baiyin, this wasn't a nightmare. It was their reality. Gao Chengyong, the man who would tear through the fabric of this community, didn't lurk in the dark corners of the night. He hunted in broad daylight. He possessed a chilling patience, a methodical nature that allowed him to stalk his victims without ever raising an alarm. For nearly 3 decades, the police were chasing a ghost. Every time they thought they were close, the trail went cold. Forensic science was in its infancy in the region, and Gao was careful, exceedingly, unnervingly careful. He left almost nothing behind. No witnesses, no fingerprints, no obvious motive. The terror in Baiyin grew like a slow-acting poison. Families lived in constant fear, children were kept indoors, and the silence that fell over the streets after dark was heavy with unspoken dread. How could a man live among them, share their meals, participate in the community, and then commit such atrocities? The psychological toll was immense. It wasn't just the crimes, it was the uncertainty. Was the stranger on the bus the killer? Was the man at the market hiding a dark secret? The community was paralyzed by suspicion. For 28 long years, the killer operated with near total impunity. He was a master of the double life, a chilling reminder that the greatest monsters don't always live in fairy tales. They often live right next door. But every ghost eventually has to face the light. As technology caught up, the net began to tighten. Investigators finally secured a lead that would blow the case wide open, leading them to the man who thought he had committed the perfect crime. When the truth finally emerged, it didn't just shock a city, it stunned the entire world. The quiet father was unmasked, and the decades of terror were finally brought to a cold, judicial end. This isn't just a story about a crime, it's a story about the fragility of our sense of security and the terrifying truth that some people can hide in plain sight for a lifetime. The ghost of Baiyin is finally silent, but his story remains a haunting reminder of the darkness that can exist behind the most ordinary of faces. Justice was served, but for the families of those lost, the shadows of the past never truly fade away. The file is closed, but the mystery continues. Subscribe to the archive files for more untold stories. Until next time.